because of my network. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on whenever you're watching. Thank you for tuning in to episode 112 of the Restricted Zone podcast. I'm your host tonight, Jonah Wooten, joined by
the man, the myth, the MFM legend. Breezy's back in the house. Back night, baby. Let's go.
Yes, sir. And when you see us the two-man power trip, you know it's for one reason only. We're here to talk about some wrestling, some good old-fashioned wrestling. It's our third wrestling episode. I don't know where Greg is, man. Greg, he just busy. He was here on the first one, but I guess he's a little busy right now. So, hopefully he can join us in the future. But right now, it's the two-man power trip. Me and Chris talking some WWE Night of Champions, talking about Roman Reigns and, the whole ending to that pay-per-view with Jimmy Uso, his cousin, kicking him square in the face, not once, but twice. Insanity. Also, Chris, it's time to start to learn, relearn the words of cult of personality, my boy. CM Punk is back. He is on his way back to AEW television in the near future. And also, we're going to talk about the best matches of this past weekend, because not only Night of Champions occurred, but we also had NXT Battleground, and we had AEW's Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Also, just a reminder that tonight is game one of the NBA Finals. We have our predictions for you. Heat, number one seed. Nuggets, 8th seeded Heat for the NBA Championship, episode 111. Please go check that out whenever you can. We're also talking about the Sixers hiring Nick Nurse. For me personally, it's the right move to make, but I just don't care. I just personally don't care about the Sixers right now. But it was the right move to make. All right, it's the best head coach they could have gotten. And also Jaylen Brown and his future with the Boston Celtics. Should he get the super max and all that jazz going up there in Boston? That's their problem. Me personally, I don't know if I would do it. There's only like a handful of guys in the league who deserve a supermax contract. I don't think Jaylen Brown is one of them, as good as he is. But nevertheless, please go check out episode 111. And as always, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for whenever we upload. So, Chris, Night of Champions. Yes, I want to talk about Roman Reigns and, Bloodline fracturing and, the main event. But to start the show, as I predicted it would, unfortunately, the World Heavyweight Championship match, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, they made the right move. Seth Rollins is the new. And correction, they're not continuing the lineage of the old World Heavyweight Championship. This is a brand new World Heavyweight Championship. It looks like Big Gold, but it is not Big Gold. It is its own separate thing. So the first and inaugural new World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins. How do you feel about that? How long do you think this first title reign is going to go for Seth? And who should challenge him first for the championship?
Man, you're right. They made the right move, man. It's great to finally have, a fighting champion that's going to be at all the pay-per-views moving forward for the foreseeable future.
And TV every week.
Yes, that too, which is also great. But think about it, it's summertime, so we're gonna roam around a little bit more. At least until after SummerSlam. Then he's gonna go back on like a three-month break till Survivor Series or whatsoever.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We got a champion now.
Yes.
I think when it comes to, well, first before I even say that, let's just talk about the match. The match,
Yes.
Even though I was not a fan of it kicking off the show, it was a very good match. I think Night of Champions as a whole didn't really have any great matches, but there were a lot of solid matches. And definitely Seth versus AJ Styles was a solid match. Could it have been better? Absolutely. But was it terrible? Absolutely not. It was not terrible. I think when it comes to just finding out people who should try to throw Seth, I feel like easily his first challenger should be Finn Balor. I mean, you gotta look at the history that him and Finn Balor already had. They were the two that competed at SummerSlam in 2016 for the Universal title to become the inaugural champion. That Finn Balor won, ultimately had to relinquish his title the next night because he separated his shoulder. Look at the World Heavyweight title picture itself, the tournament. They met each other in the semifinals, and Seth won. So at this point, the way I look at it now, when it comes to just championship matches or championship caliber matches, they're 1-on-1. Why not have a deciding factor in a world heavyweight title match? Finn Balor has done enough to earn himself another title match, and I mean, there are definitely some people out there, including myself, that would love to see Finn have another world title run. Now, will he beat Seth? Probably not now. Maybe down the line they can think about giving Finn Balor another title run. I hope he gets one, but I feel like he's already feuding with the Judgment Day. They already had a tag team match last Monday. AJ Styles isn't going to stick around, so obviously he can go back to SmackDown. So why not just continue the feud that he's having with Judgment Day, and that way you can build up the character. You can build up the characters like a Damian Priest and Dom I feel like he could have fights with all of them, and I feel like
Yeah.
the first person that should compete for his title should be Finn Balor at Money in the Bank. I think it'd be a spectacular match. I'm excited for it.
I feel like I agree with that opponent. Like that should be a definite match this summer, but I feel like they're gonna hold that until SummerSlam just because, you know, that first Universal Championship match was at SummerSlam. So I feel like for sentimental reasons, they'll probably wait until SummerSlam and maybe AJ Styles they run it back one more time at Money in the Bank for a rematch. Because I mean, yeah, he came out to Monday Night. Of course, the draft means absolutely nothing because of course it doesn't. He comes right out on Monday Night Raw as a SmackDown superstar, and yeah, he shakes his hand and all that good stuff. But I feel like they wouldn't have done that, and they had him, go up against Judgment Day in a tag team match. I don't feel like they would have done that unless they had plans to maybe run it back one more time. Because like if they're not running it back one more time, then AJ Styles had no business being on Monday Night Raw. Like we didn't need you to come out just to say good match, congratulations, all that. So I feel like they should run that back. And before Night of Champions, the last time they had a pay-per-view match was at a Money in the Bank show. So it's only fitting that they run it back at another Money in the Bank show. And then Finn Balor, gets his one-on-one match at SummerSlam. Now, as far as how long this reign is going to go, I have no idea. And I really don't have an opinion on how long it should go. Like, I don't think he's going to hold this for a year. I don't think he'll make it to WrestleMania. He could drop it in the fall and then win it back at, the Royal Rumble, maybe, pad his stats a little bit. And then he drops it to Gunther at WrestleMania. I feel like Gunther needs to win a world title at WrestleMania next year. I don't know which one it is. Because there are, some, rumors swirling around that he might face Roman. He might. But then again, it could be, Cody running the back. They might run it back with Cody. So, I mean, if they do run it back with Cody, then he needs to face Seth, which would be an amazing match. And again, WrestleMania is in Philly. So, like, me personally, we need the best matches. We need the best possible world championship matches. And Gunther, right now, is Intercontinental Champion. He's going to end up being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion by the time he loses the belt, as he should be. And he's only got about 90-something days left. So it'll be the fall. It'll be like around the end of summer, beginning of fall, when he breaks the record. He can drop that title, around November, December, goes and wins the Rumble, challenges for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's just how I see it. But Seth, I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna have a world champion on television every week. Love to see it. But let's move on. That was the beginning of the night on Saturday, Night of Champions. That was the first match on the card. Let's talk about this main event. Tag team, undisputed tag team championship match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, defending the titles against the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and the undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns. And the Usos, we knew they were going to get involved somehow because they had to get involved. They had to. Man, those, like, the match was kind of, the match was, I'm not going to say forgettable, but we knew this is all about the storyline here. This is about the story. The match was good. It served its purpose, but this is all about the story. This is all about just continuing the Bloodline story. Also, shout out to Sami Zayn, because this is kind of about him getting his, well-received, well-deserved praise in Saudi Arabia, his first time, and Kevin Owens' first time wrestling over there, and him speaking Arabic, to announce himself and Kevin Owens. That was amazing. Dude was white hot. He could kill a guy and he'll still be over. Like, there's nothing he could have done, to get, that Saudi Arabia crowd on his bad side. So, hey, let's talk about those final 10 minutes. I just want to just take it away. Like, how do you feel about that, man? That was cinema.
Cinema at its finest. And just to piggyback off of a comment you said, we all knew that they put this in an event just for storyline purposes only. And I feel like even dating back to, honestly, for me, WrestleMania in Dallas when Roman faced Brock for the Universal title, to combine the titles, I feel like ever since then, even though that Roman and the Usos, the entire bloodline, have had fantastic matches, some good matches, some okay matches, some great matches, you always know that the purpose of watching them is because you want to see the story. You want to see how the story is being told. You want to see the story unfold. And definitely dating back to the Royal Rumble, you could tell that, that there was some cracks in the armor of the bloodline. They weren't really going the same. I said the Royal Rumble. I meant WrestleMania. You could tell they weren't going the same. You could tell where the story was going. And at that point in time, I'm really just focusing on matches to see what happens afterwards, to see how the story is being written. And the thing that I appreciate about Triple H is just his ability to know how to lengthen storyline stuff. I know he likes to stretch the the climax of it. He likes to really extend the storyline longer than it sometimes is normally. And what this reminds me of a little bit, just a little bit. What this reminds me of is almost like Evolution. You know how Evolution, how two storylines kind of went to play and how they took a while for it to build up. For example, we can look at Randy Orton, and we know how Randy Orton slowly, once he hit Backlash in 2004, had the match with Mick Foley, you already knew he was set to become World Heavyweight Champion someday. Now, obviously, looking at it now, he was not ready to be World Heavyweight Champion at the time when he beat whose name we will not say. We will not say his name at SummerSlam, but you can tell that's where he's on his way to. And then they built the storyline of him going against Evolution. Now, my favorite storyline, we talked about this last episode when it came to this, was Batista and Triple H, and how, Triple H had to talk to Vince McMahon about just saying, like, you have to wait, let this cook, let it slow it down, just slowly build up to the fact so when he actually punches me in the face, you'll get a really big reaction out of it. And we could tell for weeks that it was a slow build-up because we knew that Jimmy Uso was going to go rogue sooner or later. You could tell in his mannerism. You could tell the way Roman was treating him and his brother. All the signs are pointing to it. And personally, for me, I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew something was going to happen. I didn't know when, though. So let's get to the match now. Let's talk about how to do the match. But the Usos interfered. Just like you said, nobody was surprised that was going to happen. We knew they were going to somehow make the trip to Saudi Arabia and get involved in the match.
Of course.
They had to redeem themselves for losing at WrestleMania. And the second they kicked Solo, that's when the movie started. When they kicked Solo,
little brother, man, double super kick, and Roman saw the whole thing. His face was priceless. He was outside of the ring.
That's another thing I appreciate about Roman ever since this tribal chief persona has started. He's been serving us with facial expressions and emotions. He knows what to do. Like, remember in Hell in a Cell when he fought Jey Uso and he was literally made himself cry before
crocodile tears.
Yes, crocodile tears before he choked out Jimmy Uso to win the match. Like, Roman knows how to express himself, and it's always fun. He really fit into this character. And it's been beautiful to see for the past 3 years, honestly. So yes, you talk about the emotions that Roman showed, and then we get into the ring. Jey Uso again trying to play peacemaker like he's always been doing. And when Roman said this ain't no day one no more, I was like, wow. Put him in the face, mushing him in the face.
It kind of hurt to hear him say that. Like, damn.
It did, but we knew it was coming though. We knew eventually it was gonna come. We knew. And when he turned around and got super kicked, Oh man, the look in Jimmy Uso's face. That face right there that he made is a meme. The just the stare he made at Roman, because you could tell he was sick of it. And this goes back to when Jimmy Uso first came back. And what was that shirt he wore? We gonna say it on this show. That shirt he wore that
Oh
when he
yeah,
first came back.
ain't nobody's bitch.
Nobody's bitch.
Nobody's bitch.
Nobody's bitch. And he showed it once again that he's nobody's bitch. He kicked Roman Reigns. Jey Uso tried to plead with him not to do that. You saw Paul Heyman, the wise man in the background, also plead with him not to do that. And then Jimmy grabbed Jay and said, "I'm doing what you should have done a long time ago." The same thing that Sammy said to him after he put the chair in his back. The same thing Sammy said to him after he put the chair in his back. And then he kicked it again. And Roman's
It's
face
a little
after that
things
match
too,
when Solo
man.
got pinned. It is the fine art, the
Like the
attention
little
to
dialogue,
details in
like
the
I'm doing
storyline.
what you should have done a long time ago. Like, that says a lot.
Yes.
Because Jimmy,
And
Jimmy, he came in and he was skeptical of the whole thing, like the whole just
yeah.
like I ain't nobody's bitch. Like you're not gonna tell me what to do, yada yada. But it's like, look, they were the undisputed tag team champions for 600 days. Roman was the undisputed universal champion. Everything was cool. They were winning their
Yep.
matches. They were hanging on. They had
Yep.
all the gold, and Jimmy was just like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna just roll with it." Then Sammy got involved, and it's like, "All right, we just won." Kind of big happy family. Sammy's kind of the outcast, but Jimmy was cool. Like he was the laid back one this whole time.
Yes,
He
he
was the chill
was.
one. Like Solo was the mean mug enforcer guy. Jay, he was kind of just like the
He was
paranoid,
always
always
conflicted. He's
paranoid,
always
always
been
conflicted,
conflicted.
always emotional. Jimmy was the cool-headed, chill one. Like he brought in Sammy with open arms. He was dapping him up. They had their little handshake, so that's what makes it so beautiful because it's like you don't expect this out of Jimmy. You expect this out of Jay. Jay now it's like Jay is the one who's kind of fallen in line. Now it's like Jimmy who's kind of taking over for Jay as the paranoid, emotional one. And it's like, man, there's so many layers to the story. Now it's like, and you still have Solo.
Yes.
Solo's the X factor to this whole thing. He's the wild card. It's like, what is
Mhm.
he gonna do? Because he got
Right.
double super kicked. He's gonna feel some type of way. You already know Roman's gonna go just berserk. He's gonna go just I just can't wait for Friday. I can't wait for that promo. Oh man. It's like there's so many ways they can
Bro.
go with this too. Like Money in the Bank. Roman is confirmed for
Yes.
Money in the Bank. He will be there, so he's gonna defend that championship. But against who? Like, will he defend it against Jimmy? He just might. Could that match work? I feel like it could. The matches with Jay worked. They are twins, but of course they're not the same person, so I don't know how those matches are gonna work. But it's like, man, where do you see this going? Heading into Money in the Bank, heading into SummerSlam, and of course that London crowd is going to be red hot. This is going to be red hot for whatever they decide to do, whatever match they decide to
Yes.
do. Could he defend it against an outsider, maybe? And I feel like the match has to be Jimmy, but that's not guaranteed.
Okay. So I I think of this in two different scenarios. So the first scenario is I agree with you that I don't know how it's going to play out, but at this point in time, the way the story is going, he has to fight Jimmy Uso with Money in the Bank. That has to be the match.
Yeah, yeah,
Let Jimmy Uso get his shot. We all know he's going to lose, but let him get his
right.
shot. Let him get his little bit of revenge before Roman spares him 2-3 times. Let that happen. Two ways I see this playing out is on Friday night during that promo, Roman's going to get upset. He might question Jay about something. He might question Jay about what's going on with his brother. Get in Jay's face. Jimmy's not gonna like that, so Jimmy's gonna intervene, and Solo turns on Jimmy for what he did at Clash at Night of the Champions. Or my second way of thinking about it is the same stuff still happens, but no altercation, no physical contact happens. They build the matchup for Roman versus Jimmy to Money in the Bank, and that's when Solo strikes back.
Solo cost Jimmy the title.
I feel like he does because remember, Sammy over the past month has been giving mainly Jay Uso, but the Usos like telling them, like, you see how Solo looks at you guys? He looks at you like he's ready to Simone spike you. We see the scenes with him and Paul Heyman in the background. Paul Heyman always on the phone with Roman, and then Roman always telling him it's time. Solo, go fix the problem. We see it happen all the time. Remember the promo the week before the rematch for the team titles when Paul Heyman was basically saying the tribal chief is getting fed up with the two of you. Who did he look at? He didn't look at KO and Sammy. He looked at the Usos. And who was in the ring next to him? Solo Sikoa. I feel like at this point, Solo's going to have to be the reason. Solo's going to strike back. The question is when and where. But it's going to happen. And when Solo strikes back, I think that's when Jay's going to come to his senses.
Because it's the brothers over everything, bro. Even over little brother. Because Solo's their little brother. But Jimmy is his twin. They are like literally almost like to a scientific sense the same person.
Yeah.
So it's like even over little bro, like Solo's their brother, but Jimmy's the twin. So it's like, could there be a tag team match? Would you be interested in seeing a tag team match, or do you want to see a one-on-one championship match? So I feel like Roman, he has to defend those titles sooner or later, right?
Yes, absolutely. He better not go this whole summer without defending that title. Money in the Bank and SummerSlam coming up, he defended it. I don't think I want to see a tag team match with the Usos against Roman and Solo. Like I feel like even with that one, we already know the outcome of the match. And then again, you kind of just gotta look at the X Factors. The X Factors would be Jay and Solo, and those are the X Factors right now because you don't know where their head is at. Jay Uso is obviously conflicted, and Solo has a mind of his own, so we never know what he's gonna do. We never know. So I feel like at this point, the right call is Roman versus Jimmy. Let it play out. Figure out when and where Solo's going to attack, and figure out when and where Jay is eventually going to come to his senses and stop being brainwashed like he's been for literally the past 3 years. And once you got money at this point.
All right, I hear you. It's kind of ironic you're wearing I know it's Roman Catholic. That's where we went to high school. It's just ironic because I just see Roman at the top, and we talking about Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Look, man, there's so many ways they can go with this. And yes, I know people are fed up with the Roman title run. I get it. He's past 1,000 days now. It's going to be like 1,007 days, 1,006 days we're on right now. I get it. But look, if you're giving me compelling storylines week after week, month after month, if you're going to keep this Bloodline thing fresh, and they've done that. There's a little bit of a lull after WrestleMania, a little bit because Roman, he went away for a few weeks, and that's why people started just getting fed up because after he beat Cody, of course, everybody was upset because he beat Cody. I get it. I wanted Cody to win, but I wasn't mad that Roman won. I was shocked. I was very, very shocked. I was very surprised. If I was a betting man, I would have put all my bread on Cody. Thank God, that's not legal. Thank God. But, I'm not mad that Roman won because now we're getting, and of course, we can still have this storyline without the championships, but I feel like just the thought of maybe Jay or Jimmy winning the Universal Championship, the Undisputed Universal title, maybe Solo Sikoa deep into the future, maybe Solo Sikoa, maybe, just maybe, him not only beating his cousin, boom.
What's that mean? Where the boy pulled out his card? He just said, "Take it." What did Fry say? Shut up and take my money. You were supposed to be printing money.
That's why I was like, I'm not mad that he retained the title because they're keeping this storyline fresh and they're giving us compelling stories. And now you've got your whole summer set up. You got Money in the Bank, you got your match for Money in the Bank, and you got a match for SummerSlam. Now beyond, then you're gonna have to get creative again. But for at least until the end of this whole summer run, SummerSlam, I would say the end of August, but it's not in the end of August anymore. It's like the beginning of August now. It's weird how they
August 5th is SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's the schedule's kind of weird now, but regardless, they have the next 2 months set. So, hey, I'm just going to let Triple H, I'm just going to sit back and let him cook. Just cook.
Let him cook.
And
Let him
also,
just stir that pot.
just before we started recording, I saw something on Twitter, Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com, saying that there might be some news coming out about Roman's championship belt. So they may be combining the 2 titles into one. So I'm just saying, if they do that, I would love. We got the the World Heavyweight Championship back. It's not big gold, but it kind of looks like big gold. I know everybody loves the Winged Eagle, so do I. I always think of Shawn Michaels in this '96 run, Bret Hart, and Steve Austin when he first won it. Everybody loves the Big Eagle, in the Attitude Era. I would love to see that Undisputed Championship come back. It's literally called the Undisputed Universal Championship. You might as well bring back the Undisputed title design in 2002 and into 2005. I would love to see that personally. With the white strap, come on.
That'd be kind of clean.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of
I've been thinking about this. The Undisputed title with the white strap for Roman Reigns.
That'd be kind of cool.
I'm just saying.
I mean, as far as that report goes, at this point, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. But
Sean Ross Sapp is pretty credible,
I guess. But I believe it when I see it. But I just gotta say, just because you were talking about just this whole Bloodline storyline, I just have to give that entire family his flowers because
yes,
again, it's been such beautiful work over the past 3 years, ever since Roman Reigns came back at Payback and won the title at SummerSlam during the pandemic era, during that Thunderdome era. Which, looking back on it, I miss it, but I appreciated it.
Yeah,
I'll say that. Like you said, just looking at all the layers that have been added, how it was going so good for about a good year. Then then Solo comes on board now. And now they're more dominant. Now Sammy's on board now. Now they're more dominant. Then Sammy goes rogue, finds out what Roman Reigns really doing. Now Jimmy's going rogue. Like, it's just been so fun to watch it. And this is honestly one of the best storylines we've seen in the WWE for quite some time. Honestly, for quite
it's
some
the
time.
best in the modern era. Like post Attitude Era, this is got to be the best. Like it was Daniel Bryan and his whole thing with the Authority, but this has surpassed that. This has been going on for 3 years.
Oh no! Oh,
That was a great story
that passed
too.
that years ago.
That lasted about a good, since SummerSlam of 2013 to WrestleMania 30. That's about a good 8 months. That was a good story. But this is a 3-year story. Not even like the Mega Powers, bro. The Mega Power story with Hogan and Savage, that was a year-long story. For about a year plus. This is going on 3 years now. All right. Roman's first challenger was Jay. And he beat him into submission, not once, but twice. And then it's been, just going on from there. Of course, they haven't. The family hasn't been fighting amongst each other for 3 years. But the whole just bloodline faction and this whole title reign, the title reign itself is the story. The 1,000 days, it is the story, and the biggest part of that, outside of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, has been the Usos. And now you got Solo involved. I would love to see Rikishi get involved somehow at some point. I don't know how. Maybe he tries to play. You laugh. I'm dead serious. Maybe he tries to play peacemaker, and just Roman just snaps, beats the hell out of him. Maybe that's how Solo turns on Roman. I don't know, but
you're trying to bring the elders of the NOI family into it. You're trying to bring
why not? I feel like if the Wild Samoans, they're kind of too old now. They can't travel. But if they were in shape to travel, I would love to see them get involved too. Like if Rosie was still with us, I would love to see him get involved somehow. Umaga, if he was still with us, I would love to see him get involved.
R.I.P. Rosie, R.I.P. Umaga.
Absolutely. Yokozuna, he's been gone for a while. Of course, The Rock, but this guy is just tied up in Hollywood. Black Adam. that flop. So he trying to get back to the whole Fast and Furious thing because he ain't, Dwayne, he's like, I ain't trying to get back in the WWE at the Black Adam flop. That's a bad look. So I'm trying to stay in Hollywood, but whatever. That's a whole nother situation.
I do agree that it would be fun to add more of their family to the
Yeah, like,
storyline, but
and
they're
I
gonna
know
have to figure out
there's
ways
other
how
members
to.
of the Anoa'i family out there too
Mhm.
in the wrestling business. So we'll
So,
see.
so I've seen this debate a couple of times on Twitter. I just want to
Yeah.
ask you personally: do you think the debate is over? Do you think the NY family is the greatest wrestling
Oh,
family
it's not
we've
even,
seen?
and it doesn't sound fair to say it's not close because we do have the Hart family and we do have the Rhodes
Yep.
family out there, but it's not close. Because if you look at the Hart family, it's like you think of Brett and Owen, and you think of Stu in
RP
the
on.
dungeon, and you think of Natalia and Tyson and Davy Boy, but the Anoa'i family, they've been going strong for like 40 some years now, plus 50 years. Like The Rock, he already cemented his legacy, and now Roman's doing the same. Rikishi, Umaga, Yokozuna, the Usos, possibly the greatest tag team in WWE history. Solo Sikoa now and his thing. Rosie and Umaga were kind of supporting characters, but you know, they still have their own legacies. Like, and then if you want to count Tamina and Naomi, if you want to count
Yep.
them, like,
They're part of the family. They're the family. They're part
and
of it.
and Naya and now The Rock's daughter, she's doing her thing in NXT now. Like, so like it's like it's past,
Layers.
present, and future. The Hart family is kind of like once Natalia retires, it's kind of like, all right, well, that's it. Unless some of their kids, grandkids, maybe get involved.
Yeah,
But
that is true.
the Anoa'i family is still going strong right now, and they still have a future ahead. So it's like it's kind of far and away.
I got quick question. Ain't Ava Rainer the first fourth generation superstar in the WWE?
The first what generation?
Fourth generation, because The Rock
Four.
was the third generation superstar.
Yeah. High Chief, and then Soul Man Rocky, then him, now his daughter. I think. Because I know Randy's a third.
Yep.
Uh Curtis
Cody's
Axel. I think Cody's only a second.
Cody's the second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He
His
might.
grandfather was only a plumber, so
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
son
that's
of a
true. Son
son, the
of a
son of a
plumber.
son.
Yep.
Um and then you had Curtis Axel, I think he was a third generation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's and then Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. I know
Right.
their dad was in it and their grandfather. So they're third, but I think she's the first, fourth, yeah. So I mean, good
Oh
on
yeah,
her.
they
And
go.
she's a one.
They go to never. Yeah, you said four
That's what I'm
generations. They
saying.
go to
Like,
four
yeah, like
generations in the
I'm naming
business.
all the families. It's like they got it, bro. The
Yeah, we.
Samoans got it,
Yeah,
bro. Samoan dynasty
that
got it.
debate over.
Anoa'i dynasty, they got it.
And
But
I know we're getting ready to change the subjects, but just before we
yeah,
do, I just want to throw a flower out there for Solo because I appreciate the
yes,
fact that when he first started the Samoan Spike, he did it in tribute of his uncle Umaga. I think that was I know it was on the day he passed that he brought it back out, like the
yeah.
anniversary of his passing, they brought it back out.
It's
I
his thing
appreciate the
now.
fact that I appreciate it. And look at him, he looks like a version of Umaga. Like obviously
Yes.
he doesn't say like the same thing Umaga says. He's not as wild as he was, but he's
Yeah, and
just as
that
unpredictable
that was
and
kind
he's
of
just as vicious.
that was a tad bit stereotypical how they had that man coming out there. Just a tad bit, like kind of like the
I
dumb
know.
Samoan, monster. That wasn't cool. But Umaga, like I was legitimately scared of that man as a 10-year-old, '07 watching Monday Night Raw. Like, bro, like they had me. So Solo
Bro.
kind of seeing that, character kind of be reincarnated through Solo and doing it even better now. Like, imagine if he like turns face and he kind of like paints half his face like Umaga. Doesn't do the whole face because that'll be a little,
Okay.
But if he does like half
Yeah,
the
I
face
got
like
you.
the Usos, like just think of all the layers,
Mm-hmm.
bro. Think of it, bro. That would be
Yeah.
crazy. Like the black face paint, that would look tough. He would
Yeah.
be he would be
Yeah.
so over if he did that. But Even on his own, he's still over. But that's the NOI family, bro. They dominate in the sport right now. They have been for generations. But let's move on because we went about a half hour on that, and rightfully so. But let's move on.
They deserve all the
They
Bloodline
do.
deserves all the talk.
They absolutely do.
Forever, we the ones. Forever, even when it ends. Forever, we the ones.
And this thing might go a whole nother year too. So we'll see, man. There's so much they can do with this title reign. But let's move on. Let's move in. Let's jump companies real quick. Let's go down south to Jacksonville and let's talk some AEW. And the big news. Of course, they had their pay-per-view on Sunday, Double or Nothing, but that's already been overshadowed. And we can talk a little bit about the pay-per-view itself. It didn't really do it for me until the last two matches. You know how I felt. We talked about it in the group chat. It didn't really do much for me, but it already got overshadowed because on Dynamite this past Wednesday, AEW president Tony Khan announces that when is it? June is it
June
this month?
17th?
June 17th.
June
Yes.
17th.
AEW will be premiering their new show, their B show, their SmackDown per se, AEW Collision on TBS, and the feature star, the feature, talent for that show, making his return, CM Punk. He's back. Get ready to learn the words of Cult of Personality because it's going to be back on your television screen very soon. Now, when Tony made that announcement, it was pre-recorded. The audience, it was a mixed reaction, and rightfully so. CM Punk is going to forever have his fans. Once he cut that promo in Vegas, he had, for life, he had his fan base. And there's a lot of people who jumped off that bandwagon. There's a lot of people who stayed on that bandwagon through the whole, the rest of that WWE run, that long hiatus where he was basically retired. He came back. It was like one of the greatest returns in wrestling history. That pop in Chicago was just amazing 2 years ago. And then it just all went to hell. It just what happened? They ruined such a good thing, and now they're going to try to recapture that glory. Yes, we all know about the brawl out situation where CM Punk with a mouthful of muffins just went off on all of AEW's, EVPs, just tearing down the company that he's supposed to come in and build up. He's tearing it down. He just won the world championship. He's got a broken foot, just won the world title, and he's muffins in his mouth, tearing down the company. Of course, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, they didn't take kindly to that. There was a whole brawl backstage after, All Out last year, and then CM Punk was not officially fired, but he kind of took a hiatus from the company, and now he's back. It's been about a year. I don't know how this is going to go in the locker room. It's probably going to be divided like the fan base is. What say you? Are you excited to see CM Punk back on television, first of all?
Yes, because I'm a fan of CM Punk. I've been a fan of now. I don't know. I've not followed CM Punk his whole career. Obviously, I'm really still not involved in the Ring of Honor as much as for real. Like I know he was in Ring of Honor. I know he was the champion there for a long time.
I got to do my homework on them.
Yeah, but I followed CM Punk since he was in ECW the first time. I think the first ever storyline I found was when CM Punk, quote unquote, joined the New Breed with Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvon, probably names that fans probably don't even remember against the ECW originals.
The real ones remember.
The real ones remember that storyline. So shout out Elijah Burke, you're my boy. Shout out Elijah Burke.
Yeah.
But
hope he's doing good these days.
Last time I heard he was a part of the announce team for Impact. I don't know if he's still doing that, but I know he was doing that for a while.
I know he was wrestling in Impact. I didn't know he was on the announce team.
Yeah, he was. So, I'm a fan of CM Punk. So obviously, as a wrestling fan, I'm very excited to see him back. But just kind of when you grow older, you kind of look at the wrestling world with a different perspective because you know more now. Like during the time that we were growing up, like social media. I mean, social media was evolving, but it wasn't really a big thing at first. So just now, just hearing about the stuff that goes on behind outside the wrestling ring is kind of, I guess, the what I'm looking for is just interesting to see. Um, the reaction, because I was watching AEW live, so the reaction was a bit surprising. Now I know that CM Punk isn't a fan favorite, and definitely he rubbed some people the wrong way during that interview at uh, during the interview or the press conference during last year. But can I first, just before I get to you, can we just say how crazy of a year 2022 was in the
Oh my
world of
God.
wrestling? Can we
Take your
just
pick
talk
on the
about
biggest
how
story.
insane? Should we talk about
Take
how
your
insane
pick.
that was? Like MJF basically walked to cut one of the greatest promos I've ever heard, and walked at AEW. Then
And that
literally
wasn't
like a
even like
month
top
later,
5 of the
Sasha.
craziest things.
Right. Then a month later, she's not Sasha Banks anymore. Mercedes
Mercedes.
Moné. Mercedes Moné and Trinity walked down on WWE. Bro, it was that.
Nothing trumps
2022
the
will
Vince
go
thing
down
though. As crazy as that year was,
no,
even Brawl Out,
no,
nothing trumps Vince stepping down. Like that was
no,
unprecedented, man.
bro. The year
And of course
2022,
he's back,
like,
but
yeah, we'll talk about that another day. We'll talk about that another day. But
yeah.
just the year as a whole, that is something that will get talked about for generations to come. Just how crazy of a year that was. And like you said, the incident at All Out with CM Punk, that was crazy.
Oh yeah, we can't
Now,
forget an AEW EVP coming back to WWE at WrestleMania. Can't forget that. Let's not forget that. And then him tearing his freaking pec and wrestling inside a Hell in a
yep,
Cell. What a
yep.
go ahead.
Just what a crazy year. So
Crazy.
anyway, again, as for a wrestling fan, I'm very excited to see CM Punk back because I've always been a fan of his since his CCW days. Now, you're right. This is gonna be a very interesting couple of months for AEW. Actually, I would say a couple of months. It's going to be very interesting rest of the year for AEW because obviously one of the biggest storylines that's going to continue to progress the closer we get to the new year is MJF's contract situation. How's that going to work? And, and I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit, just a quick glimpse of it, but like you said, it really wasn't that good of a show. Like literally, the MJF as of right now
Mm.
is literally kind of carrying that company. Now, I'm not saying that people in that company are doing a good job when it comes to the wrestling perspective, but but I mean, professional wrestling, even though it's about wrestling, it's also more than that. Like it's also about personas, characters. We like to see that as well. And honestly, everybody kind of feels bland outside of MJF. He's the only one that kind of separates himself. Now, obviously, you got your workhorses like Sammy Guevara's, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Adam Cole's, Chris Jericho's. List goes on, and they do a good job.
Chris Jericho.
I mean, okay. Chris Jericho signed Chris Jericho signed a 5-year extension. He ain't going nowhere for a minute. He gonna wrestle till that. He gonna
I
wrestle till
know,
60.
but I mean, that was rough, man.
but but we all know that the bread and butter of AEW right now is MJF.
Mhm.
And just adding CM Punk to the mix now, already knowing what happened during that press conference, his relationship with the Young Bucks, with actually not the Young Bucks, just with the Elite as a whole, with Chris Jericho. Because remember, Chris Jericho called him a cancer in the locker room. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting just to see how all this plays out. Now, I feel like the reason they started Collision was so that CM Punk can kind of ease the way back into the company without having to go on Dynamite or Rampage, having to see Chris Jericho every day. Because I don't think Chris Jericho is really going to be a part of Collision as much. Because he already does enough being a guest ring announcer on Rampage when he does, and then wrestling him damn near every week for during Dynamite. So I think this is what he having to, I guess, face the people that he kind of pissed off. It's going to be very interesting, but the first storyline I feel like has to be CM Punk against Hangman Adam Page. Because remember, that's how most of this started. That's how I mean. Now I know Hangman. Is in a feud with the Blackpool Combat Club right now, but you can find a way to stretch that story out. Because mind you, at the same time, Kenny Omega is now going to start a feud with Don Callis. the Young Bucks you got the Young Bucks doing something while they are trying to fight the Blackpool Combat Club by themselves, or you can have them doing something else because they're trying to add layers to the story. I feel like CM Punk versus Hangman is a good layer to add because of the fallout that they had from the World Heavyweight title match to what CM Punk said before he called out John Moxley, which was also insane. And then, of course, the press conference when again he talked about Hangman Adam Page. I feel like that would be a great rivalry.
He said he couldn't even run a Target, let alone a wrestling company. I think he was talking about all the EVPs, but yeah, man.
He was.
He said they couldn't run a effing Target.
Bro, so it's going to be interesting. Like, part of me is kind of excited. I know based off of what I said last week, I said I'm not going to really tune into AEW as much, but they have my interest. They piqued my interest with this just because I want to see where this goes. Now, obviously, if they do it like they did with CM Punk's first run, how it kind of stopped after his big return. Because again, I mean, I'm not mad at the feuds he had. Like, first of all, him and CM Punk and MJF was a fantastic rivalry, beautiful. That was great. So I'm not even talking about that. But I'm talking about like his feud with Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page. Who else did he feud with? John Moxley was iffy. I mean, this is kind of like a new slate. I want them to look at it as like a clean slate for CM Punk. Bring him in the right way. And yes, it might take time for him to get over again. Because again, that press conference pushed a lot of people the wrong way. And it made him feel some type of way. So find ways just to get him over. Even if he comes back as a heel, I'm not mad at that. Get him over as a heel. That's still cool. He knows how to be a heel. I did see something on Twitter that said that it'd be nice to see CM Punk come back as a heel, but also bring back his old theme song, "This Fireburns." And part of me says yes, but then again,
I think WWE still owns the rights.
They do?
I think so. So maybe they'll probably bring back like his ROH theme song, maybe.
They could, but I was gonna say though,
I love this theme song. I love that. I love it. Yes, I love Cult of Personality, and it's probably my favorite song of all time by Living Color. And it's a black band, so it's like I just love it 10 times over for that. But This Fire Burns is so underrated. That was such a great theme song for him. And I keep like every time I hear it, I just think of Money in the Bank 2011. Days. This fire burns always. Man,
that's all.
Him walking out with the WWE Championship. Chicago going crazy. Like, my love for CM Punk goes all the way back to 2008 when he cashed in Money in the Bank on Edge. Monday Night Raw. Like, when he, like, of course, that world title reign went nowhere, but just that moment, just seeing him cash in Money in the Bank on Edge. Because, you know, we thought Edge was a great heel, so we all hated him. Just seeing him, you know, win that championship on Raw out of nowhere, thanks to Batista. You know, that was a great moment.
Yes, it was.
Of course, the title reign didn't go anywhere, but it was a great moment. And they doubled down, and they had him repeat Money in the Bank the next year. And then, of course, he did it as a heel, and he cashed in on Jeff Hardy, and then we all hated that. But, you know, it was clear from day one. And you can even go back further than that to Survivor Series in, I believe, 2006.
Yeah,
with him, the Hardys, and DX. I think that was in Philadelphia, too. You had DX and the Hardys on his team. And who was the most over person in the building that night?
CM Punk.
CM Punk. The Hardys and DX. And CM Punk was the most over guy in that match. So
he was.
You can go far back to your love of CM Punk, with my love to CM Punk. And, of course, you know, the pipe bomb promo in 2011 on John Cena. I still, like, just go back from time to time just to watch that. It's just, come on. Like, you have to. It's just, I don't want to say greatest promo of all time, but it's top 3. Easily top 3.
Listen, only for this as of right now, it's the best promo I've ever heard, personally. MJF's promo last year is a close second, but come on now. That's the first time I've ever seen anybody do that. That's the first time I've ever seen anybody do something like that. And then the stuff he was saying, it was
unprecedented. Breaking kayfabe, especially in a PG era.
Yes, I'm so mad they ruined the Summer of Punk because it was so great.
That could have been. See, that's Vince McMahon not letting stuff breathe. Imagine if he was still in full creative control right now. Like this Bloodline storyline would have been ruined by now.
Yes,
He doesn't let it breathe. He just wants the big, just rating spike for that week, and then just like, all right, what's next? Like if they had let CM Punk really walk away with the title and go defend it in Japan, go defend it at Ring of Honor, maybe not Impact, but like just go defend it and just be away. Like you have the World Heavyweight Championship, utilize the World Heavyweight Championship, get that belt over, make it not seem like a secondary title, and then whoever's the champion there, let them kind of be your guy on Raw and SmackDown. Let CM Punk let that breathe, man. Like, wasted opportunity.
Hey, we're not gonna talk about that. But
I know, and then when he does come back, they have freaking Kevin Nash of all people cost on the championship. Like, just whatever, man.
Bro.
But again, another story.
I don't want to think about that. I want to hear your
thoughts.
I want to hear your thoughts on the return because again, you sound like me. You sound like a big CM Punk fan for a decade plus. So, how you feel about him coming back? How you feel about the man coming back?
Look, I do miss hearing Cult of Personality every week. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this because it's like, yes, there's a lot you can do now with him being back. First of all, because he's got basically beef with just about the whole locker room, especially with the Elite and Hangman Page. There's going to be beef with Kenny. There's going to be beef with the Young Bucks. So it's like there's a lot you can do. And the promos are going to be elite, okay? The promos are going to be elite. We know that. No pun intended, by the way. Promos are going to be phenomenal. The back and forth, because you got that real life heat, so you can kind of mix it in with your kayfabe. My only thing is him in the ring. Is he going to hold up? Is his feet going to hold up? Because he broke his foot. That's my only concern. It's him in the actual ring. And of course, even when he's healthy, is like he hasn't the matches just aren't hitting for me. So it's like I'm excited for the promos. I'm excited for the storytelling. But once we get to the pay-per-views, once we get to the actual in-ring matches, you got to blow it off. All this heat, all this beef, you got to blow it off in the ring. It's wrestling. All right? Everything, it starts and ends in the ring. So it's like, that's my concern. I hope he's been training. I hope he's been taking care of himself. He's getting up there in age. And even when he was in his prime, no offense, he wasn't, the best guy in between the ropes. He had his matches. I can, off the top of my head, see him like John Cena, Money in the Bank, 2011, Undertaker, WrestleMania, just off the top of the head. He has great matches.
That's not very much.
But that was decade ago. And he's been away for a long time before he got back to AEW. He's been away for 7 years. He had his little stint in the UFC, didn't go so well. So I just need him just take care of his body. Don't stage dive into the crowd anymore. Just and leave the lariats alone. This springboard lariat, whatever. It's he's what's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm
think of it though.
Yeah, just the moveset.
He don't do a spring. So you think he should stop trying to jump?
It's not a springboard lariat. It's a It's like he's springing. He jumps into the ring. He flips into the ring and hits the clothesline.
I got you.
It doesn't look too clean. I'm sorry. That's my only concern. Is the in-ring stuff. But the storylines are there. Tony Khan, it shouldn't be too hard for him to book this. It's right.
It better not be. It better not be.
And another concern of mine is that he's going to get catapulted right back into the title picture as well. He doesn't need the championship. He does not need the championship. He's not going to win it, but he doesn't need to be in a title match either with MJF. Because I know they're tempted to do it at Wembley Stadium, all in. I know they're tempted.
Not yet. Let it cook. Let it cook first. Let it cook.
If you want to give him a title match down the line, do it at the end of the year. Don't rush him. Don't rush him into a championship match. I don't want to see it. Because he's not going to win.
I know he's not going, but not just thinking about it and thinking about the last storyline between CM Punk and MJF. How do you
With the dog collar
top
match.
that?
Yeah, the dog collar match. Like, how do you?
Like the build up to the match itself. Like, how are you going to top that if you think about the plan for because the promos were spectacular. Every
Oh
last
my
one of them, they
goodness.
all were personal too.
MJF got
There was
so
so much
personal.
so personal. Like,
Like
how
the
are you
picture
going
they
to
have
top
together
that?
at the autograph signing. Like, you can't top that. Like you can add the new wrinkle of CM Punk losing the locker room, and MJF. Now he's a guy. He's a champion. Like, I'm the guy now. Like, we don't need you anymore. But other guys are gonna cut those promos already. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like he's not gonna be able to help him. Tony can't help himself. He's gonna throw CM Punk into a world title match sooner or later. I just don't know how you top it.
Yeah, that's the question Tony got to answer. But Tony, Tony Khan. I hope you hear this episode. You are sitting on money.
Yeah.
Please don't mess it up. Please don't. Because if you do, and I want you to listen to me. If you do, MJF ain't coming back. He gonna go bye-bye. You don't want that.
You saw the media scrum after Double or Nothing.
Yes, I
How
did.
he's
Yep. Yes, I
Tony's
did.
face was
He
priceless.
know
He's
he's
like, bro,
scared.
can you chill? Like,
Bro, as the clock winds down to the new year, he is going to get more and more nervous. He is going to.
I think
I
Tony has
promise
like
you.
PTSD in these media scrums because it's like it doesn't matter who he's sitting next to, they're just saying the wrong things. Like that man is never at peace in a media scrum.
I
Oh my
mean,
goodness,
I think it's because Tony, to a certain extent, gives him too much freedom. Now,
he does.
just me personally, I don't think it's a bad thing, but you gotta know when to set boundaries. And it seems like AEW, especially when it comes to those media scrums after the pay-per-views, there
Oh my
really aren't a lot of
goodness.
boundaries. They could really go up there and say whatever they want to say.
Like WWE, it's like it's uniformed. Like it's just like I don't want to say
Right.
scripted, but it feels like their media scrums or their press conferences are pretty scripted. At least from the talent side of things. The questions are well, I can't say scripted because the journalists are asking legitimate questions but they're giving political answers as you would expect. And of course it's
Also
PG. They
true.
ain't cursing on it, but AEW they just fly off it's like they're trying to be like UFC. Like you gotta like bring some type of professionalism into this. Like these are real. Again, I don't want to say real journalists because it's a lot of wrestling bloggers. No offense, you know, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be a wrestling journalist. I'm studying journalism in school, but I don't have my degree, so I'm not going to call myself a journalist. So it's like I don't know. You got to have some sort of professionalism. But MJF he's just like a walking soundbite. So it's fun to hear him go off.
Yes,
It's
it
like,
is.
man, you gotta rein it in a little bit, man. Like, jeez. Also,
Yeah.
also shout out to just Collision as a show in general because this roster needs to be broken up.
Yes.
There's way too
Yes.
many, but like well over 100 talent, men and women combined on this AEW roster. So just to like maybe break this in half. Also, all the championships they have, like
Yeah.
WWE, they have a lot of titles, but they have two shows on cable every week. Raw and SmackDown. You can break your championships and your roster in half. There's only one world title, so maybe you take the TNT belt, even though they're not on TNT anymore. But you take that TNT belt and you make that like the premier belt on Collision, or you take the TBS title and make that the premier title. Oh my God, that just reminded me. Oh my girl Jade. Oh no, Jade and Bianca in the same weekend, bro.
Oh, okay.
In the
It's
same weekend. How could we forget? Oh my God, baby, she lost a
I I
championship.
want I just I just want to state this for the record. I just want to state this. I'm not so much mad that they lost the titles.
It's the
I'm mad at
way they did it.
I'm yeah, I'm not mad. I'm pissed off at how it happened because we talked
I w-
about this.
well, for Bianca, that was kind of creative how they did that with Asuka.
I mean,
I
yes,
just don't think Saudi Arabia Night of Champions was the place to do it. But I think the finish itself was creative. Wrong place.
okay,
But with Jade,
because
I hated that. I hated that. That was Hogan at WrestleMania 9. Of course, it was in Las Vegas too. Funny enough, Las Vegas. But that was terrible. I hated that.
That was something I couldn't believe that.
Like Chris Statlander's supposed to be a babyface, and she comes in and beats the heel after she was already in the match. Like, I don't know.
Definitely. If they wanted to have Statlander take the title off of Jade, which I would not have been mad at.
Exactly, and she's the right person to do it. It's just the way they did it.
Exactly. Now it's like at this point, I feel like I'm about to Statlander. Jade has to get pushed up to the main event status. She needs to start competing against like the Outcast, Britt Baker, start competing for the AEW Women's title. But
has to
again, just like with WWE, they don't really like doing heel versus heel title matches. And Jade's a bona fide heel. She is. She's a great heel. I mean, yes, she's very popular, but I don't know if it's time to make her turn face because I don't know if it's time for that yet. Which sucks because now it's like, what do you have planned for her? What is she supposed to do? Because obviously, she's a tremendous talent. Is she gonna take time off to work on her other business? Because I know she's owner of I believe she's owner of a softball league now. I believe it's a softball league. Premier
Brandon
Hits
Phillips
Pro
is her
or something like
husband.
that.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So now I'm just curious on what's the plan for her now that the title's on her. Where does it go from? Because
I
obviously
do have
now
a bit of a theory about the
again,
Women's World Championship, though. I think Jamie Hayter. I think Jamie Hayter takes it right back at Wembley.
So why take it off of her then?
I don't know. Maybe it's because he's just a babyface and he's just building sympathy for like a big title win in the stadium. And because it's like Jade, if Jade is to win the world title, it's got to be on a babyface because she's just a natural heel. She gets cheers from time to time, but she's a natural heel. So it was like you can't have her beat Toni Storm. Now, like that match wouldn't work. But if she took it from a Jamie Hayter, that would make sense. And Jamie, I don't know. I don't understand the booking decisions from Sunday night. Both women's titles changed in just weird fashion. Like both, and the women's world title match wasn't that good. I don't know. Jamie Hayter's hurt. She's like taking like a month or two off. Maybe like that's like a way to write her off. Maybe give Tony a little bit of a rub, in the meantime, and then she gets the big triumphant babyface win at Wembley.
I don't know, but just speaking about this title match, this is just a great segue in just talking about just overall the weekend as a whole. Because obviously, I know you talked about at the beginning of the show, we had 3 pay-per-views this weekend. And yes, I'm calling WWE events pay-per-views. I'm not calling them premium live events.
We don't do that here. We don't do that here.
Yeah. We had 3 pay-per-views this weekend. And each one of them, in their own right, were mid. Just completely mid. For one reason or another. And like every show
also,
had
before
their
you
flaws.
continue, not to cut you off, but AEW, don't go back to Vegas for Double or Nothing. I understand the whole concept, Double or Nothing. It was like gambling, Vegas. Don't go back there. That crowd doesn't deserve that. That crowd the card wasn't good.
Mid.
But the crowd didn't help. They just they were, even for the matches that were good at the end of the show, it was like they were kind of dead, man. Like,
yeah, they weren't into it at all.
Vegas is like, I don't know, man. Great city. I haven't been. I'm sure it'll be a great city to visit this fall. I plan to go there, later this year. But you got to take that somewhere else. I know they're in Chicago a ton, so maybe like branch out somewhere else. I don't know.
They got it. AEW definitely has to work on expanding more to other places outside of just the generic big cities because they are prone to doing that. And I mean, obviously, you got to pass. I'll say the first year and a half, because you were dealing with COVID, so you had to stay in Florida for most of the when the restrictions finally got lifted a little bit, you started to travel some. But like You gotta travel more. You gotta go to those other lesser known places that want to see. You got like a Hershey, PA. Like they want to see wrestling. Like go to
Right, go
somewhere
there
like
for a
that.
Dynamite or for a Collision.
Right, go to the
They come here.
Tallahassee
They come here
Sports
for
Forum.
Dynamite every year, sometimes
Exactly.
twice a year. But
Hmm.
we haven't gotten a pay per view yet. Where's that AEW pay per view at? You know, bring Double or Nothing here. You can keep
We
the name
we
because who really
we.
cares? Like,
You're right. I'm just saying. WrestleMania's coming to Philly next year, and Impact Wrestling had two of their biggest shows in Philadelphia before. AEW,
and
what's the
we
holdup?
get a WWE pay per view every year. It could be a Royal Rumble. It could be Elimination Chamber. It could be Extreme Rules. It could be Battleground. I went to Battleground. I saw that Punjabi prison match. It was
Ooh,
horrible. I know.
you
I
sat
paid
through?
money to see
You
that.
went to that?
Look, I just wanted to go to a pay per view. I've never been to a pay per
I,
view before, so it's
you
like,
know, I understand. I understand. I understand. But damn,
yeah,
you picked
I
the wrong one
know.
to go to.
I'm gonna admit I did pop for Kali. I popped. Look, he got a good pop. And I was just excited to see something that I wasn't expecting, bro. Even if it was the great freaking Khali. I popped for it. I'll admit it. I paid money. I was leaving with something. All right.
Hey
I
man,
was leaving with something.
that makes sense.
But
I guess that makes sense.
yeah, but AEW, like, you gotta branch out for your pay-per-views. Like, I understand
No
you have
doubt.
history with Vegas. Like, I think the first All In show is in Vegas. I get it. But the crowd wasn't doing it for me. They kind of lost that privilege.
Yeah,
But
those
continue. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so again, talking about how each card was mid, just
Hmm.
purely mid. And that sucks, especially because when you look out through a wrestling calendar, it's very rare where it's very rare where you'll find three pay-per-views in one weekend. Now obviously there are times when like AEW and WWE will compete in the same weekend, but having events on the same day because WWE
Yes.
basically moved their pay-per-views to Saturday, and just because they had Battleground, they planned that for Sunday. It competed with Double or Nothing, so I was excited, to watch two events at the same time, and I was just disappointed with the overall outcome of all the events. I was disappointed at all the matches, but the overall outcome was bad. But at least there are a few bright spots. I'll give you
Hmm.
mine. I'll start with NXT Battleground. It was the right move to make Tiffany Stratton the NXT Women's Champion. It was the right move, and I'm glad she's a champion. I think we had a decent match with Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker, but in my honest opinion, the match of the night, Dijak
Come
against
on.
Ilya Dragunov.
It's not even close.
That
Oh,
that gave me vibes. That gave me Gunther versus Sheamus Clash of the Castle vibes, and I like because they literally were out there trying to hurt each other.
it's a
Now, obviously,
fight. It's not a
it was
match. It
a
was a
fight.
fight.
It was a fight. It was a fight. And for
And
all
it
you
was a bit
folks,
emotional too. Like, they were wearing ththose bumps on their face, man.
yes,
Especially
they
Ilya.
were.
Ilya was
It,
damn near crying, man.
see, 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 I want to give now. I don't know about the Ilya Dragunov. I know that he was at NXT UK when that was a thing, but he deserves his flowers because that man can put on some spectacular matches. Mind you, he had no, not even arguably the greatest match in NXT UK history against Gunther, formerly known as Walter, for the NXT UK the NXT UK Championship. That
Yeah.
was a 5-star match if I've ever seen one. And then their second bout when they came to the United States was also good. Wasn't as good as the first meeting, but it was still very good. But Dragunov, he Dragunov's a warrior, and I would like him to see. I would like him to get pulled up to the main roster soon to get like a mid card title run. I don't know if he
Honestly,
really.
like, he can bypass the NXT championship and just come straight up.
Yes,
He's ready.
yes, he
He's
could.
more than ready. Like, NXT
And
UK was his NXT. So, like,
yes, and the
bring
best
him up.
part, the first storyline you could put him in against Gunther. Against Gunther. He don't have to win the Intercontinental title, but it'll
He
be a
could.
spectacular match. I guess
Oh, he
he could
could.
win.
Because once he breaks the record, in the
Oh,
fall, like around Survivor Series, December.
you trying to have a deja vu moment like you did in
Exactly. You see
UK.
the vision. He
You
ended
trying
the
to deja vu moment.
800-day NXT UK title reign. Why not? Why not just because Gunther's gonna get the world title, so like as a thank you, He's gonna get the world title, but before he goes on to why not establish somebody? Yes, you got to eat that L, but you're gonna win the Rumble and win the World Championship. But before you do that, give somebody the rub. And if it's not Sheamus, because Sheamus would be a great option too. If it's not Sheamus, this got to be Ilya. I love that.
I'm not mad at that.
Either match would be just 4.5 stars at the minimum.
Yes, I'm not mad at that. So that was Battleground. Let's go. We can go to Double or Nothing because I got to get that out the way first.
Do we have to? We have to because those last two matches were great.
Yeah, I'm gonna say any match before the Pillars 4-way match or Anarchy in the Arena was complete mid. But that Pillars match though, I specifically like the part where they all shout out their mentors. I thought that was a great addition to that match. I enjoyed seeing the Crossroads from MJF, the Scorpion Death Drop from Darby Allin, Jungle Boy with the kill switch, and Sammy Guevara. With the cold break. I enjoyed that. That was such a homage to just everybody that helped them along their way to get into that main event level that they got to. That was a great touch, and I enjoyed seeing that. So,
also, the quadruple submission.
But yep. No, that was definitely a great match, and I enjoyed it. And of course, the Anarchy in the Arena match. Now, it didn't go the way I wanted to, but come on now. You when you watch pro wrestling,
do you mean like the decision or just the match in general?
The match in general. I'm not mad at the decision. I'm not mad at how it ended. Like remember we talked about this. I wasn't mad about the heel turn that happened. I wasn't mad. I knew Don Callis was going to get involved some way somehow. I wasn't mad about that, but I did expect to see. I would say I'm gonna say I did expect to see a little bit more gory.
A little more.
Because I expect because like when you look at the Blackpool Combat Club, outside John Moxley, nobody really got beat up that much. Nobody really bled like John Moxley. John Moxley's whole side of his face was red. Everybody else was just like it was just sweat. But then when you look at the Elite, they all took their bumps. All of them took their bumps. Especially the Young Bucks.
Oh my God.
A mouthful of tags.
Was it Matt or Nick? I can't tell them apart.
Neither can I. All I know is they got beat up.
Dog. And he's the only one who didn't get busted open. He didn't bleed. But bro, I would have rather give me the razor blade. Give me
bro, thumbtacks in your foot? Your bare foot?
His bare foot. And then they made him eat him. And they hit him with the uppercut and he spit him out. Oh God.
Yo, that was sickening.
They earned their paychecks.
They did.
Young Bucks earned their paychecks. Oh my God.
But fantastic match. That was a great match. I enjoyed it. And I'm not gonna say it was the right finish, but I'm not against the finish either. Keep building that storyline up.
And it kind of felt like a glorified squash too. They all got their moves in, but Blackpool Combat Club beat their ass, man.
They did.
And then the insult, the injury, the heel turn.
But
Takeshita.
Yep. But the thing's gonna be good, and I mean you can still build the story up. So now, Kenny Omega is gonna feud with Don Callis, but again, the Elite is still gonna feud with Blackpool Combat Club, and you've already established the Blackpool Combat Club as probably the most dominant faction in AEW right now, which is also a great thing. So you're already on the right foot. Keep the story going, and eventually, let the Elite win.
Sorry, Matt or Nick, whoever.
Oh, and before I go to Night of Champions. That explosive super kick.
I liked it. Some people didn't like it. I liked it.
I enjoyed it. It was a nice touch.
For Anarchy in the Arena, like if it's a regular match, of course not. Even like a regular, just no disqualifications match, it's kind of hokey. But for Anarchy in the Arena, like you kind of have to pull out all the stops because it's Anarchy in the Arena. So that spot, it got a little like damn out of me.
Yeah.
And that's just like Moxley, he already had in WWE had a monitor blow up in his face. If you remember that, Bray Wyatt.
I do remember that. Yeah.
And now he got an Air Jordan blowing up in his face. It's just like,
bro, he be taking some crazy bumps. He really will take some crazy bumps.
And of course, you just tap his forehead, he starts bleeding. Like,
And then just wrestle 3 nights later. Didn't even want to take a break. We'll wrestle 3 nights later.
Of course, workhorse.
He is a workhorse.
That's why
You
he's
get your
the only
flowers.
3-time AEW World Champion. Like
Mox,
he is AEW. Like you talk about the
Moxley, you
elite
get your flowers too.
and Cody Rhodes. They started the whole thing, but Moxley, he is AEW.
Moxley, you get your flowers too. You deserve all the praise you
Absolutely.
get. And then we just jumped to Night of Champions. There's only really 2
Other
matches that
than the
was
main
good.
event, what was the best match in that card?
See, that's tricky because I feel like there's only really 2 answers you can give, and I really wasn't a big fan of the Brock and Cody match, so I gotta go with Seth Rollins against AJ Styles. I mean, well, I think it's debatable between Seth and AJ and Bianca and Asuka. I think those 2 matches were both pretty solid matches. Outcomes, even though it wasn't, even though they could have done that at WrestleMania for Bianca, the outcomes were not bad. They weren't terrible. There was good matches. That Brock and Cody match though.
Honestly,
I'm
that
not.
match surprised me because not the result, because of course Brock was going to win. He's going to get his win back, and then they're going to do the tiebreaker at SummerSlam. I think they're going to skip Money in the Bank because Cody's going to be in a Money in the Bank ladder match, and Brock is going to cost him, as I mentioned in the last episode. I think that's how they're going to keep that going, and then they're going to blow it off at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
But Night of Champions, I was kind of like Cody, like he hung in that match. I thought it was going to just be a flat, clean squash. And they didn't do that. They kind of saved him a little bit. They saved him. So it was like,
Yep.
I understand what they did there. They had him pass out. He didn't tap because you can't have Cody Rhodes tap. You're going to just ruin all of his credibility. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I like how they did it. Like, there was only so much you can do with that match with the broken arm angle. There's only so much you can do. So it was like, I guess props to them, kind of giving Brock his win back from Backlash, but also saving Cody at the same time. It was a little like it kind of got to like Super Cena levels a little bit, because it's like, bro, how are you not like you've been in this Kimura lock, the same move that broke Triple H's arm, broke Shawn Michaels' arm. He done broke all these dudes' arms. His arm is already broken, so it's like, bro, how are you like? Just like suspend your disbelief for a second. Like, how is he not tapping out?
3
Like,
minutes.
how is he
3
not tapping
whole
out?
minutes. 3 whole minutes.
Like, his arm is supposed to be broken, right? And you got Brock freaking Lesnar in the Kimura lock. Bro, how are you not tapping? So it was like, it kind of got a bit hokey for me. But again, they did the only thing they really could, was have him lose in like the strongest way possible. He passed out. So I mean, all right. Okay, let's get this over with at SummerSlam. I don't even know what Cody does after. Like, who does he feud with next?
That's a tough question.
Not to like jump ahead months in advance, but who like Gunther maybe? Like he can't win the IC title because he's got to finish the story. He could feud with Seth for the world title, but again, that's beneath him. Not with all due respect to Seth and the World Heavyweight Championship, he's got to finish the story with Roman. So how do you get from SummerSlam to WrestleMania, or to the Royal Rumble at least? Like, I don't know. Like you can't just have him go away for the fall again, with an injury. Like you can't do that again. You already did that last year, even though he didn't do it on purpose. He was legitimately hurt. So I don't know. I don't know what they do with Cody, man, but I don't get paid to figure that out. They do. So
yeah,
we got any closing thoughts? Because I know you. Well, first of all, what's the score right now? Because I'm recording on my phone, so I can't check. What's the score?
The score. Oh, Denver is up 90-74 with 7 minutes left in the fourth.
Oh yeah, got it. Y'all got it. This is just free night for you. Congrats, 3 more wins. I'm not even mad at it. It goes against my narratives all season, but I'm not even mad at it because the Sixers should have been there anyway. So I ain't mad at it. Congrats in advance. It's not over because it's only 1 game, but congrats in advance, man. To your Nuggets.
Anyway, I guess when it comes to closing thoughts, all I can say is I can't wait for SmackDown.
Yes.
SmackDown's gonna be Cam Mills, and we all know why it's gonna be Cam Mills.
Yes.
I
Spider-Verse
can't wait.
comes out on Friday. It's gotta wait. I'm watching it on Saturday because I'm tuning in for SmackDown. I sound like such a nerd right now. I don't give a damn.
Bro, who cares?
Well, listen,
Who
I
cares?
don't give a damn. Like, I'm tuning in Friday. I'm glued in.
Yep.
I'm locked in. At least for the first half hour of SmackDown.
Yep.
The rest of the show, I don't know. But the Bloodline, because you know that's going to open the show.
It's got to. It's got to.
WWE, they don't save their good stuff for the main event anymore. They open the show with it because they want those viewers, they want those eyeballs right away. So you know,
Mhm.
as soon as they come on the air, 8:00, of course they're gonna do the whole, recap package of the pay-per-view. But
Yeah.
like 3-4 minutes in, that first note of Roman's theme hits, I'm locked in.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna be so
It's good.
pissed. I can't wait.
It's gonna be. I just can't wait to see what happens. I'm excited. I'm really excited for
Oh
tomorrow.
my goodness, man. Because again, there's just so much they can do. It's a good problem to have. Like,
Yes.
there's just so much they can do with this storyline, but we'll see. That's tomorrow night. We are recording this on Thursday night, so tomorrow, 22 hours from now, 21 and a half hours from now, whatever, we're gonna see how Roman responds to getting kicked not once but twice square in the jaw by his cousin Jimmy Uso. But that's then for tonight. Again, I'm John Wooten with
It's your boy Chris Breezy, 2-man power trip back at it again.
the 2-man power trip. Damn right. We got to get Greg back on these episodes. Maybe see him in the future too.
Yes.
Get them dudes involved and hear their whole, because they're all in the group chat with us. We have a separate group chat just for wrestling, and they be in there, chopping it up with us. So we got to get them here on camera, in person for
Yes.
y'all. But for now, the 2-man power trip will do. Great episode once again, episode 112. Again, don't forget episode 111. Please check that out if you want to, get your finals predictions. Of course, game 1 is in the books, but we talk about Sixers, the Sixers hiring Nick Nurse, and Jaylen Brown's future with the Celtics. But that's it for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, be notified for whenever we upload new videos. So, y'all be safe out there. Y'all have a good one. Peace.